All right, it is indeed time for the Fluffle to assemble. Welcome, one and all, to the Rabid Atheist Show. I'm your host, Ed Raby, a former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another Wildcard Tuesday. Welcome to one and all in the Rabid Nation, whether you are a paid-for citizen or whether you are just a tourist who's subscribed, or whether you are looking across the border, just watching, lurking, whatever you're doing, wondering whether or not to join such a wonderful nation as the Rabid Nation. Welcome one and all. Welcome to the Rabid Atheist Show. And today we're going to be dealing with a story that came out on July 9th, I believe, about the state of Maine, where the U.S. Appeals Court of that area ruled in Maine's favor about LGBTQ discrimination and receiving public funds as a religious institution. So I wanted to talk about that. It's always interesting to talk about how religious people view the state and the state views religion. So it's always a fun conversation. I thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate all of you. Just a couple of announcements before I really get going. There's, of course, a goal in chat, and it keeps my stream ads free. I'm going to do another announcement later regarding that, given the current situation with our friend IKIlledEarl, friend of the channel and our artist. I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well, but I don't I don't want people to get it twisted here about donating to me or donating to Earl. So I want to make sure I make that clear. I'll be doing that in a couple seconds. So that goal there is in chat. That keeps my stream running and all that. So there is a Discord link in the description. There's also links to ground news and the article that's involved here in today's story. So we'll be doing that. And then I did want to do the GoFundMe thing. There is a GoFundMe that's pinned in the chat, and is also, I believe, well, I don't know if I'll put it in the description as well, involving Earl. If you don't know, Earl recently found herself to be homeless, and so we're starting a GoFundMe for her long-term things. I've been on the Discord as well, promoting this as well, but we're trying to get enough money for her to get some help as far as getting her hands fixed. That's part of the problem is she's a dental hygienist and her hands aren't working all that well, and so we're trying to get it so that she can get that. So me and Evan kind of work together on this, and so we're going to do that. I've had one person raise a concern about, well, what about, your donations to you and things like that. And I want to make it very abundantly clear, if I'm going to be okay. Okay. If you have to make a decision between giving to me or giving to Earl, I would rather have you give it to Earl. I've got an extra paycheck this month. I've been very frugal of late. I'm in a good spot where the channel, I appreciate the support. If you can do both, that's great. But if I had my choice, I want to help my friend. So I'm going to help my friend with that. So that's kind of where I'm going to go with that. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. So I'm going to refresh something. So there we go. There we go. All right. I think that's it. We may talk about that again later. Let's see. So we have this case that finally saw the light, and this goes to the discussion of separation of church and state. I get into this discussion every once in a while as an atheist. I also get into this discussion every once in a while when it comes to, when I was a Christian, I used to get into this discussion about school funding. I was on a school board. So I had this happen a couple of times when I was on the school board, where I would make decisions that a lot of the churches in town didn't really like, because I, even as a Christian, believe that you keep those two spheres separate, and there were too many religious organizations that were trying to get their hands into the schools and hands into things like that. So, when I see cases like this, I am automatically think in that mode. I start to think in the mode of, okay, we have a religious institution who's receiving public funds, and they still want to discriminate along certain lines. Like one of the more obvious discriminations that religious schools do is if you're a Christian school, they have a tendency not to take like Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist students. If they're not receiving public funds, they can do that. They can turn somebody down if they're not the religion that they want. If they are receiving public funds, even with the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision, as I understand it, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, they cannot, because of freedom of religion, they cannot discriminate against somebody. Like if a Buddhist wanted to go to a Catholic school, I don't think they can stop them. They can't do that as long as they're receiving public money. Now, what Maine did, and a lot of people are arguing it was kind of a preemptive strike, basically, is what they were doing. If I'm understanding it correctly, they passed a law that basically said if you're going to receive public money from the state of Maine, I think, maybe federal funds, I'm not sure. Perhaps you shouldn't be receiving any. If you're going to receive federal funding, you should not discriminate based on LGBTQ issues such as sexual orientation, sexual identity, things like that. So the discussion I guess I want to have today revolves around that. Now, I don't know, kind of low count yet here today. People might be running a little late, and it is hot as heck in the United States right now. So I don't know if people may be like camped in front of their air conditioners today. But my viewpoint on this, even as a Christian, was I don't know that I want the government giving me money with their rules in the first place. But for some reason, I'm still trying to I'm having trouble understanding the mentality of certain Christian groups who have their schools or their organizations or their institutions. They want to have government tax funded money, but they don't want to play by the rules. Like there's always this element. I seem to see it more from Christian schools in the United States than anywhere else, of somebody, of people that are just, they want to use religious freedom as a way to discriminate, so they don't want to follow the rules against discrimination, is the way I would see it. Like it's become a real problem, and I'm trying to figure out the mentality here, and I can't really think of too much other than people seem to have this notion that because their religion is true, they have the right to follow the dictates of the religion, regardless of the rules of the society around them. It's very much a rules for thee, but not for me kind of mentality that they have sometimes. And it just drives me insane. I can tell you a couple school board stories that relate to this issue, but this issue is very interesting because the state of Maine did, what did they call it? They called it the Maine Human Rights Act, and they did this in right after Trump was elected the second time, and I think that was because they saw what the Supreme Court might do, and so they saw so they what the state of Maine did is they passed an act to protect LGBTQ rights if people were receiving state funding, as I understand it, Evan. So what they did is they saw what was coming in the Supreme Court of the United States, which, if you're not aware, the Supreme Court, I think, ruled last year that religious schools could receive public funding. So I do. Okay. All right. But yeah, it's like and good to see Evan, and good to see you too, Michael. Appreciate you. Um, but what happened in this case is very interesting, Evan. So they put up this law and said if you're going to receive public funding from the state of Maine, um, you're going to have to not discriminate based on LGBTQ issues, identity, orientation, all that stuff. And immediately, a Catholic school and a Christian school filed suit. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, they do this all the time. But who was it? It was St. Dominic Academy in Auburn and Bangor Christian Schools run by Crosspoint Church. They asked for exemptions because their viewpoint on LGBTQ issues, of course, no, we don't like that. And so they basically handed out, they sued, and then the Court of Appeals on the 9th of this month. Yeah, it's not very good against Knots either. You're really in a pun mode, aren't you? But so they filed suit. The appeals court upheld the lower court's decision. The state court of Maine said no. If you're going to receive public funding, you can't discriminate. In other words, these two Christian schools want the ability to tell LGBTQ students that they can't enroll and they can't be a part of it. And so the U.S. Court of Appeals said no. The state of Maine has every right with its own funding towards your school to set conditions for it. And I think what's emboldened these two Christian schools is the U.S. Supreme Court's recent decision is kind of like, no, yeah, it's like you're allowed to. I mean, they said you could receive public funding as a Christian school as long as you didn't discriminate based on religion. So, I mean, it could get weird there. Like a Catholic could go to a Muslim school, or a Muslim could go to a Buddhist school or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah, like it's been a kind of interesting kind of mode there where people are just like, what is going on? But then Maine decided to up the ante and pass a state law that says, no, you can't discriminate based on LGBTQ issues either. And because it's a state law, the issue at the Supreme Court is going to be probably, they're going to probably say, the two suitors are going to probably say, the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't allow this kind of delimitation. So I don't know. So, well, seriously, it drives me banana pants, the sheer amount of BS that people are allowed to get away with just saying, but my religion, no, yes. I'd like to see I'd like to see somebody besides Christian schools do this. I really would. Hey, good to see you, Josh. Yeah, like it's an interesting story because this just happened like the 9th. It's like the end of the work week for the government last week. And the appeals court said, no, the lower court is correct. I mean, you're receiving state funding from the state of Maine, so you can't discriminate based on LGBTQ. So in other words, the Bangor Christian schools of Bangor area don't want some girl claiming she's a lesbian or some trans person walking around or anybody like that walking around their campus, because it creates a mixed message when you're trying to be a Christian school and want to discriminate against people. I'm putting myself in their mentality. And so it ends up being really weird to me because on the one hand, if they weren't receiving state funding, I'd say fine, whatever you want to do. It's your private institution. You want to do this, you go right ahead. On the other hand, if you're receiving public money, like I think there was some quote from the Boston.com article. I think it's at the bottom of the article. If I can get my stuff to work here today. But I think he quoted my feelings on the whole thing too, is at the bottom of the article. I think he says it, which is the main concern on this one. Let's see. Yes, Leonard Scher said the Supreme Court has shown a willingness to chip away the law that bars religious schools from receiving public funding, which said would result in taxpayer dollars being used to support institutions that discriminate based on beliefs. As a taxpayer, Winchester said, you're being forced to subsidize discrimination against other people, including possibly discrimination in a group that you are a member of. And that has been the concern since the beginning. So it's kind of just really weird to me. Like, I didn't understand the Supreme Court's decision because it was like a public funding issue. As somebody who's played the game of politics at the state level and at the local level, I just found it weird that the Supreme Court would even allow like tax funded of Christian institutions, but they did. And now these Christian things are using it to attack state laws that do the same. Like they're like state laws are saying, no, you can't discriminate if you're receiving state funding. And these Christian schools want an exemption based on what the Supreme Court said of the United States. So it's just kind of, we're in this battle right now. So Christian Lander wanted to establish a theocracy with Christianity being the state religion. This ruling doesn't hurt them because they're playing the long game to get the Supreme Court to overturn it. Yes, and I think you're right about that. Like you can see in some of the statements by the two Christian schools, they want to get in front of the Supreme Court. They want to take this to the Supreme Court, whether state can restrict funding based on discrimination rules. And if they can get that ruling, then the state can give people funding and they can, private institutions can discriminate, even though they're not, even though public schools aren't allowed to. And it just creates a very unlevel playing field, I think, Dragon Rider, for these institutions. Like they're pushing something to get through. So I don't understand what they're like. The lower courts are always doing the right thing, in my opinion. Like I think the Supreme Court of Maine basically made the initial ruling, said no, and then they basically, these two Christian institutions are working up the chain of command and trying to get to the Supreme Court. I think you're very right about that. Is a private business that can use a separate but not equal situation, or worse, than folks are just allowed to do whatever the heck they want to. Yeah, like they're using, I think Ember brought that out. It's like, aren't they kind of using the whole, separate but equal kind of language that's like old law that we've kind of shoved under the table and don't want anymore? Like they're really trying to push this angle of separate but equal again. Like we can be separate, discriminate, as long as we're all getting the same funding. What difference does it make? And I think it's really weird that I see a lot of Christians using this whole separate but equal thing. Like, oh yes, we want to go back to the segregated South. Like that's a move. And I know a lot of people want to do that, but I don't, I'm like, why? Like it just, well, I would argue, I don't know, with a new Pope, the Supreme Court's probably more Catholic than the Pope still. Like, I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I said, yeah, like but she said it, like Ember brought it up in one of her streams, like this, we're going back to the days of separate but equal legislation. We're going back to this time that we have now rejected as a society as a bad moment, in U.S. history. And here we are going back to it to get this religious justification to discriminate in religious schools that are receiving public funding. And it's like, it's just weird to me. And it's weird to her, and I agreed with her. So it's just weird. Landlords and employers based on gender or sexuality. Yeah, there's still some laws on the book that allow certain states allow you to discriminate based on that because it's your business. Satanic Temple needs to found schools. I don't know. Maybe we need to start a public school based on Fangs, a private school based on Fangs. The Fangs going. So, but yes. Hey, Tilton, good to see you. I don't understand why Congress doesn't at least consider passing the Johnson Amendment. MAGA clearly wants to remove it for their own disgusting. I get it. How can I describe politicians that are successful? Politicians that stay in the game long term, they are always reading the political winds. And I think there's some Republicans in Congress that give lip service to the current administration, but behind the closed doors, they know he's cooked. And so they're just staying away with it. Like I mean, I think Congress is afraid right now to really do anything. I think they're just in a wait and see mood. So I mean, I haven't really seen Johnson talk much. You know, they just lost, oh, is it Lindsey Graham died, I believe. And then you got the other guy that's getting old too. So two of the old, boomer senator representative types. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know that the Republicans feel all that confident in doing anything right now. I'm just looking at the political landscape, and I think everybody's waiting for November. Like they're all waiting to see which way the public wind is blowing. Now, if the elections go the Republicans' way, a lot of people say, no chance in hell. Yeah, never say never. We're a long way from there yet, and people usually only remember the last couple of months. Yeah, proof of life, McConnell. Yes, yes, very very well spoken. But yeah, like it's the issue is, I'm trying to use my poli sci degree and read the political landscape and a little bit of my experience, and it's like I don't think the Republicans feel very bold right now. I think they're waiting to see what happens. They also realize that they have a president who is making remarks that are obviously false to everyone. Like I mean, you just read some of his comments on the reflecting pool alone. Like he lives in his own reality on what happened at the reflecting pool, just based on just basic photographic documentation. Oh, it's sabotage. No, you're an idiot. No. So it's like, yeah, like there you go. Yeah, religions get religion. Yeah. Hey, Hope, good to see you. It's good to see everybody. Kinky size. Okay. But I don't know. I'm reading the landscape as nobody wants to do shit until November. They want to see which way the wind is blowing. And then you still don't get a change till January anyway, so because you have to have a transitional time, but it's then what'll happen is if the Republicans might do that, they might do a bunch of bullshit if they know they're going out of power. Like they'll try to scramble to get a bunch of shit through. So you need some fangs? All right, here, I'll give you some fangs. Here. Given all that's going on, I'm going to try to bring some light into the world. So here we go. We're going to throw baby fangs up there. Okay. If you need a warm fuzzy today, there you go. Hey, thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. But yes, kinky boots. But no, I don't know. Like when I look at church state separation, this last 2 years has made this so gray and fuzzy in practical reality. Like there's so much stuff that gets allowed that 10 years ago, even Republicans wouldn't have allowed it. And it's so odd to me that so many of these Republicans can't realize how that's a problem. Like, I don't know how they're going to move forward. Because people are starting to like push back, and it's like, and they don't know what to do with that. It took a while, but people are allowed to speak against Trump. So, yeah, doesn't he make you feel so good? Hey, Jimmy, good to see you, Jimmy. But I was just looking at this court case in Maine. Now it looks like the two Christian organizations. This is what they wanted. They wanted the appeals court to shoot them down so they can apply for Supreme Court. But I think Colorado already has a case in front of them, a very similar one about Christian schools and receiving public funding. So they may get put in line, and then the Colorado case may break, and then that may set precedent for everything else. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think the real problem, Josh, is that Trump was riding so high. Every time a Republican tried to speak against what he was doing, they would get shot down by everybody. There was such a hive mind, tribalistic mentality for the first year with the Republicans. Like they're just the few people that criticize, like Massey and Rand Paul. I mean, Massey just got basically blitzed by super PACs and removed from office. It's he lost the primary, so he's even though he's an incumbent, and so they blitzed him. And Rand Paul has been ridiculed by the president so much he just doesn't bother to talk anymore. So it's like it was interesting the first year because you couldn't say, if you were a Republican, a MAGA, anything, you couldn't say anything against them. And all of a sudden the cracks began to start. This guy isn't who he says he is. The Epstein files didn't help him. The war has absolutely not helped him. One of the big signs I just recently made note of is, anybody made a note of what's happening with Ben Shapiro? Because Ben Shapiro has been staying with Israel this whole time in his support of Israel, the Daily Wire is absolutely coming apart. Like it's just absolutely just destroying itself. It's just been interesting that that's happening. And it's all because a lot of Republican types are like, no, we didn't want this war in the first place. And they're starting to question their involvement with Israel. So, well, wrong name. Yeah. I'm talking Rand Paul. So I don't know. Supporting this channel. So greatly appreciate. Yeah, it is. And I'll take this time and say, I also have there's a GoFundMe for Earl in the chat as well. I'm going to advertise that again real quick. Earl's been a friend of mine for a while, and she's facing some current difficulties and some long-term stuff. And I'd appreciate it if anybody would just take a look and see if they can help support her. She's become homeless because she's been losing the ability to do her job. So I'm going to see if we can find it. So, a weirdo. I don't think so. Yes. Time risk your political career to save the representative. Yeah, and I think that's kind of where. See, this is the problem with our system, Josh. It rewards the politician that knows how to stay undercover and not face heat instead of doing the right thing. It's like there used to be people in politics that did the right thing and stood for principles, and they were applauded for it. I'm not sure that happens as much anymore. Grieving now while criticizing, recording uncertain. I think you can easily do both just fine. Yeah, I mean, I've never been one for dancing on people's graves. One, I think it's like I didn't convince Lindsey Graham myself to change his ways, so it's like, but there's a meme out there right now because the other guy McConnell was like, everybody's having stories about his health and all that stuff, and it's like, and there's a meeting in the White House room, and Graham is there with McConnell and Trump, and McConnell saying, Trump saying, "Hey, McConnell, this isn't work. This distraction isn't working." And then McConnell, Graham's over there like, "Why are you two looking at me?" so but there you go. There you go. You got him right now. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. This is going to be interesting because the political situation and landscape is Lindsey Graham. For all the bullshit he's done, we have to acknowledge the man has had some serious political power. And that's a vacuum that somebody's probably going to step into. And I'm not sure who that's going to be. That's going to be a fight. So, very shaky rhetoric. Very well. I mean, you can criticize his record all you want. You can criticize what he's done all you want. I never have a problem with that. But it's I don't know. I prefer victories while people are alive. They mean more. But yeah, I just don't know. I he's been in the Senate for so long. Like, career politician definitely fits him. So, but now that he's gone, I just don't know who's going to fit into that spot. You got McConnell, who's sick. He's probably not soon much more time. He's going to follow Graham. Uh, I don't know. I don't know when he's up for re-election. Is he up for re-election this year? I don't know. So, okay, back bleeping false alarm. Okay, okay, there you go. But yeah, like I don't. The issue with Graham is now who fills those shoes, who walks into that. So yeah, because I've been listening like because all of a sudden there's all these YouTube videos on political comment about Ben Shapiro, right and left. Like YouTube commentators are going off on this, and I'm start listening to something like this guy, Ben Shapiro, will not get, no matter what Israel does, it's right. And I've taken a stance on it. Neither one of these sides is right. Like they both think the answer is killing each other, and I think they're just stupid. And it's all, you can say what you want about the social economic parts and the history part, but it's also religious. Like Zionist Israelis are like, this is our land, God gave it to us. And then you've got other people saying no, and it's ours. So it's like but so Ben has been doubling down on Israel while other people, even on the Republican camp, are going, hold on a minute. Just because you have a problem with how the nation of Israel is handling its business doesn't make you anti Semitic. Like, you can criticize a country's actions without dealing with that because there's other people in Israel that are not Jewish, they are part of that nation. And so it's like but Ben is just absolutely full hog on this. And a guy who used to be pro free speech is now saying, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to engage this person. I don't want to talk to Tucker Carlson. Like he's always been like, everybody has a right to do that and this, but he's like, it's not cancel culture to not engage a person. And like, okay, like, but yes. So there you go. Conservative media in general is falling apart. Daily Caller, negative, so Drudge Report, Federalist, Fox News is down 20, National Trend 20 million fewer. But yeah, and I think it's because I don't know what's going to save the conservative movement. They need to get back to principles and their roots and stop following Trump. Trump is destroying conservatism because people are just going up his ass instead of like, no, that's not conservatism. Like, this war is killing him. And it's, he had a brief pause so he could celebrate his birthday and then and 4th of July, and then we're right back at it. It's like, it's not doing him any favors. And a lot of conservatives are like, why are we wasting American troops' lives, money over something that's really not our business? Okay. And that's starting to fall apart. It's very interesting what's happening. And for all the talk of the left civil war, because there is a little bit of a civil war over there, this one's worse. Like, this one's worse. Yeah, me too, Josh. I've never wished a man dead, but I've read some obituaries with great pleasure. I can relate. So there we go. I can relate. Yeah, like there's a lot of Jews that aren't Israelis. Like, you would know, Evan. Like, you're not a Zionist, like, by any stretch of the imagination. It's like, it's the problem with Ben is he thinks the two are interrelated. Like, if you are against Israel, you're against Jews, and if you're against Jews, you're against Israel. He doesn't have the ability to separate those two in his brain, and it's costing him big time. I think he started losing support when he started supporting Trump too, because he was always like, I used to respect the guy because he was a conservative, and I felt some of his views were whack job, but he always said, like, Trump is not the guy. Like, he's a liar. Like, there's a whole speech of Ben Shapiro just going into Trump about how awful a person he is. You could probably find it still to this day. But then he changed his view. Like, Trump's going to save America. Trump's going to save Israel. Like, it was so obvious that he was doing that. And it was just, I think that's what killed him. Like, this is an interesting topic of discussion. What's happening on the right is more catastrophic than I think what's happening on the left. We got both parties kind of imploding a little bit right now, but that's pretty typical before the election. So we'll see. We'll see. Made his terrible patriotic people. Now he doesn't care if it pisses them off. Now he doesn't care about what the free market did because he's losing money over this. Why? I don't know. I think it's his old. See, because one of the things, like, I heard a MAGA guy, Make America Great guy. I listen to everybody because I want to know what batshit crazy is out there too. But there was a conservative American first. It wasn't MAGA, it was America First. He says, I'm an America First kind of guy. He says the problem with Ben is it doesn't seem to be America first. It seems to be Israel first and America second. And that's his problem. I think that's the issue is for Shapiro. I think he's more of he wishes himself more an Israeli citizen than American. And there's a lot of people saying, well, go there then, like, leave. So, and a lot of those people are conservative. The people who practice Judaism also anti-Israel, but also not anti-Jewish people, whatever that means. The people who believe it's a Jewish race. I'm not yeah, and that's kind of where I stand too. Like, I'm not anti-people. I'm very anti-tribalism when people die. Like, when people start dying, I'm kind of like, what are you fighting for? What stupid reason are we killing each other for now? Like, and then when you really look at it, it's like, oh, great. So, you tear your hair out when Jewish fire. It's so common. And I'm just like, you know that it's both wrong and feeding the bigots, right? Yes. Like, Ben is a good example. Ben Shapiro is a good example of somebody who can't see that you can be critical of a nation and what its actions are without being critical of the people inside it or the human beings inside of it. Like, we're talking about governments here anyway, because a lot of times the government is taking action that most of the people in the country would say, yeah, let's not do that. Like, so if you took a vote today, okay, of Americans and say, should we be fighting Iran? I'd say most of them would probably say no. So, like, we should be getting out of that. So it's a funny thing, but we are literally fighting this war. If people like Ben Shapiro are correct, the reason we're fighting this war is to help Israel against Iran. And I'm not sure that that's going to be good for America. How's that good for America? A lot of America First people are asking that question, and MAGA people are asking that question. So, possibly ethnic identity has been placed above his civic identity as American. America wants to fund Israel or Palestine. Yeah, and I don't know. It's a tough one. But yeah, I think he's losing. I was just surprised because if you had told me that the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro would be facing bankruptcy about even 3 or 4 years ago, I would have laughed at your face. But now I see it. Like, he doubles down on all this stuff, and here we are. And he can't see his civic duty as American. I think you make a good point, Triple E. Like, you have a duty as an American citizen first, but his Zionism, his devotion to his club and his race, quote unquote, blinds him to the fact that sometimes his nation does bullshit things. Like, what happened a couple of years ago was horrific when Hamas did what it did. But I think we're at an overkill point here. Like, I mean, I could see if Israel had pushed back, secured its borders, arrested the people, like tried to find the people that were responsible, rescued the hostages, and got it to a situation where it was stable again, and then we're done. I think a lot of people would have respected that, like that they showed restraint, but they're not showing any restraint anymore. And that's a problem. And I have a problem with that. So, Me too. Also a Jew, but doesn't identify as much. To be fair, my previous point, yeah, on the liberal side is also yes. Like you are correct. Like media in general is suffering, and there's a bigger discussion to be here, there, Dragon Rider, about media. Like what's going on? Like viewership of mainstream media is dropping everywhere. And so I have to ask the question, who are people watching? Are they watching anybody? Are they just like done with it? Yeah. Like, are they finished with it? That's a good one too. Yeah, I believe in monotheism. This is sickness. Yeah, me too. Thanks, Tilting. I appreciate you listening, and I do. I used to like it 10 years ago. I'm learning politics. It was an enjoyable intrusion to political discipline, but now I can't just stand a show. Yeah, it's got a lot of people are that way too. Uh, Uranium, that's fine. Like we're not asking anybody to help Earl with like stuff they don't have. If you don't have it, we fully understand. We're just trying to mobilize some help for our artist. Earl's done so much art, like the art displayed right now. The beautiful, lovely godlet Fangs is her art. And if I could explain the situation over the last couple of years, basically her hands started to go numb and she was experiencing some pain and stuff over the period of time, which as a dental hygienist, she works with her hands constantly. And so she's lost her ability to do that, right? So she had to cut back on the amount of dental hygienic things she can do in a week. Um, and so her income dropped. Well, at the same time, her rent on her apartment went from like 1,000 to almost 1,500. Like the increase that they were giving her every 6 months was ridiculous, like way ahead of the inflation curve. Apparently, they're very proud of their apartment building now. And so those two things combined to put her in a situation where very quickly she found herself out on the street. But thank you for giving me. I can at least use your comment as an opportunity to talk about the situation a little bit. See, so yeah, thanks. Let's do the other one. Yes, anti-Christmas also. Okay. Yeah. First among citizens. Yes. Facts don't care about your feelings. Being true. Yes. Atheists and polytheists should get revenge. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about revenge. I just want to be treated equally. MSNBC, but I haven't watched in over 2 years. Yeah, it's really weird. Nobody's watching media. It's like maybe, just maybe, guys, people are tired of the editorializing. Like maybe, just maybe, people want to get back. Would you please just tell me what's going on and I can make up my own mind about what's going on? Like, can you just tell me what's going on? Give me factually based information. If you want to do an editorial, mark it as a goddamn editorial. Like this is your opinion, man. So, but they don't do that. Tired of listening to agitated propaganda. So many right and left wing YouTubers are paid from whoever. It sucks. I believe people are less and less now. Nothing is original anymore. Yeah. I fell for Brett Cooper. It's easy to swallow nonsense when hot girls and the one spouting it. Yes. It's possible too. Yes, please smash the like button. Oh yeah, uh, she's had some good news of recent. Triple E, Felicia, if you remember Felicia. Felicia doesn't come around here as much as she's got her own show and stuff to run. I appreciate Felicia, but Felicia's reached out and helped her. I've got a few other people reaching out to help her on the individual basis. Our GoFundMe is all about her needed medical care. Like she needs some surgery on her hands, she needs some consultations. And as you know, if you live in the United States, our healthcare system's kind of fucked up. It doesn't really make a lot of sense as far as how it's funded. Like here you have obvious occupational therapy that should be done to get somebody who's a healthcare professional back in the game. Like, it's like, to me, it's a no brainer. She's also an artist. So when she does stuff with her hands, that hurts her as well. It's why I used a little AI slot for a few things, because I wanted to give her a break, but I have an idea where she can still help me with the art and not hurt her hands as much, but I'll run that by her a little bit later. But, so that's kind of her situation. And this is not a handout to Earl. Earl would not accept it if it was that way. This is us helping a friend, part of the community, get back on their feet, and get back to where they need to be. So that's what we're doing. That's kind of what we're doing. So if I brought you up to speed, I probably brought a few other people up to speed too. So that billionaire show newspaper and other media is really showing us. Yeah, like it's when it's all the same. Like there is one thing I really appreciate about ground news is it will tell me when a media source is owned by a billionaire. It'll also tell me when most of the sources are independent. And I like that, because if they're independent and they're not attached to a billionaire, it's usually more accurate. And I like that. One with God's earth. Yeah, it's kind of a Band-Aid. I get what you're saying, but what it does is it kind of gives me like a lay of the land. It has its down points. I will give that to you, but I like it. I know I will. Just so you know, but somebody else contacted me directly about helping Earl, and they're going to reach out to Earl directly. Just so you know that. That may be what's happening right now and why I haven't seen Earl yet. So, but yes, we're getting Earl help, and I appreciate everybody being involved in that. GoFundMe, yes. Our healthcare system has become a system of GoFundMes, unfortunately. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll transfer everybody's hugs to IKE. I mean, like, she does all my artwork. Like, this is hers. She did the Precept Opossums. She did Judge Fangs. Fangs has just been really brought to life by her, and her shading and all that stuff is really improved. She's just fantastic. But me being me, I don't want to hurt her. Okay? Like, I don't want to hurt the person that's working for me. Has led them to have holidays isn't helping. These kinds of cultural touchstones are found out as part of the House of Cards. Yes. So no more Carnival. I don't know. Well, the issue is cord cutting. Part of the issue is that 24-hour news in general is anxiety inducing, and a lot of people, as a result, are cutting back on news. Yes, I think that's a big part of it. You can only maintain a certain level of anxiety for so long, and then it becomes either depression, sadness, or, you know what, I'm done. Like, I'm just done. And I miss the days, in some respects, when news was at certain times of the day and it left me alone the rest of the day. I miss that. Like, you could get your morning news, you could get stuff at noon while you're at lunch, and then you could come home and sit down at 6 o'clock and get the news, and it'd be done by 7, and you go about your business. And they let you have. I think the real problem with 24-hour news that I have is they don't let you have time to think about it for yourself. Like, they don't want to just tell you what it is, what the news is, and what is going on. They want to tell you what you think about it. And that's, to me, I think that's just exhausting. And it's like, no. So, yeah, Sex Pistols. Miss them. I forgot I had years stolen. Also, skipping my comments about how you can practice Judaism as a cultural thing without the theist beliefs. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's accidentally clear. Yes, it is. You can. Like, I don't have problems with cultural Jews. I I can sit there and say, you know what, the Holocaust was a real thing and it really happened and it was a horrible thing to happen to the Jews. Do I wonder if Israel was the best solution for all this at times? Given recent events, I'm beginning to wonder. But the nation exists. It's not going anywhere. Probably not going to be gone in my lifetime. So the problem I have now, Evan, is simply like every time you criticize Israel, certain people like Ben Shapiro call you anti-Semitic. Like that's why Candace Owens, and Tucker and a whole bunch of others that left the Daily Wire got in trouble. Is they were like, "Oh, wait a minute, Ben, your country there is kind of committing a genocide here. Like maybe you want to criticize them for not being better people," and he wouldn't have it. Like, nope, bye. So it's kind of there. But yes, you can be cultural. I'm not skipping them. I'm probably just missing them. I got a lot of comments for a stream that started kind of slow as far as people watching. It's picked up. Yeah. A third of GoFundMe. Yeah, it's like only in the U.S. It's like it's all. And this is another one. It's healthcare related. It's occupational therapy related. Like if Earl lived in another country, like that had healthcare, she could have gone already to that like a year ago and said, "Hey, I'm having problems with my hands. Can I get some occupational medical care to fix it so I can go back to my dental care role?" Okay. And they would have done it. It would have been done already. And that's what frustrates me. So, the Breaking Bad would never have gotten past the pilot if it took place in any other country but the USA. Yes. Yeah, like the opening is he can't afford his medical care. Like if it was any other country, that wouldn't have been an excuse. Ron left the band just after recording it, so the actor with an actor in Brazil and dressed as a famous Down syndrome for the music video. Okay. Podcast is a good idea, but a daily podcast every day for years is exhausting. Yes. That 1 year without Rot in the late 70s were most hilarious. That's good music history. I haven't looked at the Sex Pistols in a long time. I used to listen to them a little bit. A long time ago, back when I was much, much younger. Weekly. One of my favorite radio stations here is a morning show in the afternoon. Yeah, like it's, I do this Monday through Friday, and I find it stressful at times. I do. And it's caused me to like, okay, I would love to do this if I was doing it full time. You bring up a subject that I'm actually thinking about. So yeah, I don't know. I think we overdo it. And I'm wondering sometimes if I overdo it. I'm going to keep thinking about that though. I like doing what I do. So it's fun. Something about for you to do to the news story, which Trump's bad instead of let you make you be informed. Yeah. I think where the left is making a mistake, and this is just me trying to be helpful, watching the tea leaves. You can't keep running on we need to stop Trump because that gets wearying too. You got to give me something about what you want to do to get me excited about what you want to do. Like, what do you want to do different? Trump bad all the time. Yeah, everybody knows that. That's old news. Like, quit the fake news mantra. Let's start on old news. It's old news that you think Trump is bad. What are you going to, if you were in power, what would you do instead? Like, what exactly, where would we going? What's your vision for the country? Like, people, like, this is what Obama did. Like, if you want a successful implementation in recent politics in the last, 10, 20 years, Barack Obama created a vision for the country. Now, you could agree with it. You could disagree with it, right? But it was a vision. He didn't run against his opponent so much as he ran to promote what he wanted to do. And it was highly successful. I wish the left would get back to that. Okay, old news. Trump's a bad president. Old news, everybody's saying it. We know it. You can write an op-ed every day. Okay, what are you going to do different? And the problem is right now you got a civil war on the left about what to do. You've got some people going one way and you got some people going the other way. You got people that everybody knows is a creep. You know, they pointed out he's a creep. And then other people, oh, they get behind him all the way. And it's like, this is not a time for this. What you need to be focused on is what are we trying to do? So, but yeah, I just want to know what you want to do. Like, I'm the kind of guy that I want to know what you're going to do. If you were in the position, what would you do? So things about culture and railing, if you want to take away people's culture, even if they don't believe the truth claims, though, it ends up kind of being mean, even if they don't intend that. Yes, I agree. It's just it's a metric person looking at the international and the collective result of those individuals. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sex Pistols in the 70s. Yeah. Got some good music. I haven't listened to it in a while, though. I probably should. God Save the Queen. One of my favorites. Violence, name to believe. Just like being, how dare you celebrate something fun while treating the story like Santa Claus? It's kind of just attacking that isn't actually probably have the problem. To be clear, I don't think you're saying that. I know. I don't know. I think there's a power in tribalism that doesn't allow us to have nuanced views like that. So yeah, he might be a hint. Hey Felicia, good to see you. Just talking about you. I summoned you apparently. There we go. Might be behind on the comments too. Oh my goodness. Like the cultural things are a byproduct of beliefs and truth claims, but not necessarily the other way around or structurally necessary. Yes. Like there's a lot of cultural stuff that in Judaism that I can absolutely get behind. So the issue is the ability to separate the fact that like all Jews are not the same. Like that seems to be a revelation to some people, Evan, like all Jews are not the same. Like if I say that to some Christian right winger, they're like, "What?" so, but yeah, like it's been it's just been really it's a revelation to a lot of people when you point out like I'm critical of Islam as a religion. I am fully aware that most Islamic people won't harm a fly. Like they're not terrorists, they're not any of that. Okay. But I will still criticize the religion just like I will criticize Christianity. I'm criticizing the religion. I'm not criticizing the people. Okay. And some people just cannot make that distinction. And when they look at Jews, they cannot make that distinction either, that there's people here that are really good people. Some of them are just following it because it's culture and other people actually believe it. You can make that distinction. A lot of people can't do that. They just can't. So cancel culture of racism are a scare. And then people like him will cancel for anti-Semitism. It's just yeah, he's been called on that hypocrisy lately too. It's like, well, wait a minute, it's rare, but then you're saying that it's happening. So great. I mean, however, every time I saw him he would focus on what he would do and being more solutions focused instead of slinging. Yes, and this is what is needed. I cannot emphasize this so much. Okay, I said it earlier. Everybody know Trump bad, like it, except his diehard supporters. Everybody, even people on the right, are like going, "Oh my God, what did we do?" Okay, we know that. What do you want to do that's different? How would you run things? Like, tell me how you would run things if you were in charge. You need to have a vision. What is the Democrat vision for the future of the country? Like, give me that. Look at presidents of the past for how this has been successful. Like, look at it. I mean, Obama's a good example for the left. I would say Reagan, regardless of how you feel about Reagan, Reagan had a vision for the country. You may not have agreed with it, but he sold it. That is far more effective than going after the Democrats. Reagan never, like, he had a few funny moments with his opponents, like the age comments and stuff like that, but he had a vision for the country and communicated it and promoted it. There's a reason why he's called the great communicator. All right. Obama did the same. He communicated his vision. He was very successful, and he got groundswell support, overwhelming support. You can keep mudslinging all you want. It's not as effective at getting people to vote for you as showing people what you want to do and making it realistic too. That's something that can be do. So that's it. Oh yeah, he is an idiot, but it's okay, Felicia. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of believers just aren't there. They're not doing anything. Since the death of the Saturday morning, they're replacing a lot of time dedicated to the kids with the news. Ah, shit. Yeah. Yeah. Ben Papa can make this thing just like Ben Sam Harris. Yes. No, the bad things are there, but they actually like them. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Reagan Youth was a fun bad in the 80s. Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I support Reagan. Okay. I'm just saying that if you want to look at presidents of the past that ran on a vision and what kind of support did they get? They got way more support than they needed to win. And it was like, that's what you do. Obama did the same thing. Like, you might argue that Trump did that, but with propaganda. Like, he talked about "Make America Great Again" as a great slogan. Okay. But, be vague, he was incredibly vague about what he meant. So, yes. Yeah, like he was a very centrist pragmatist too. You're right, Ron, because like he had Republicans in his cabinet. Like he wanted the pushback. Like the way he would run like a meeting of the cabinet was like, let's go through the issues, and see what we want to do. And he would accept the pushback and the feedback. So it didn't hurt that he was a successful actor. That's true. But that idea of having a vision and communicating it is to me more effective than mudslinging. I mean, I got beat by that, like because I wouldn't mudsling. Well, successful in the fact that he had films. And he's not a very good. I mean, if he was a good actor, we'd still have him on classic films, but I don't think he appears in many. So, but yeah, he was an actor. It helped. I mean, it's been said politics is acting for the ugly, so they might be true. I have a sense of rule of law is not doesn't say I can't. Yes, very well put, Ryan. But yeah, like I just find it very interesting these days in politics that they spend so much time editorializing on the news about it, and then you have the actual political actors just spend so much time taking pot shots at each other, and nobody is really telling me what they want to do. Like I'm disqualifying a lot of people for the job simply because, like, are you going to tell me what you're going to do? And be realistic about it too. Like, I hate it when politicians like promise stuff and based on the mechanizations of the political machine that it's never going to happen. So yeah, I know he was like out of it in my 50s. Yeah, and then he became a politician. So because they could, Vietnam, Watergate assassination, people wanted to feel good about being an American again. I would agree with that. And he had a vision of how to feel great as an American again, and they bought into it. It worked. So Thatcher was competing with a bigger POS. That's probably true too. That's probably true. Yeah. So, yeah. Um. Well, okay. Here, I was looking into this actually the other day. How big should the house be? In the U.S. Now, according to the Constitution, in the House is based on state population. Article 1, Section 2 guarantees a state at least one representative and sets a maximum ratio of one representative per 30,000 people. Okay. I don't know. Somebody can do the quick math with the population of the United States and divide it by 30,000 because that's what the Constitution says. And that's how many representatives we're supposed to have. We're going to want to cut off J.D. Vance and Trump's association and tech off from direct state power. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There have been so many times when I was incessantly faced with, y'all know that so-and-so is just going to wave a magic wand and make those things happen, right? Yes. But like, according to the Constitution, and it's a portion based on population, but yes, it sets a maximum ratio of one representative per 30,000 people. So there's kind of some control that Congress has itself over how many representatives. But if I divide the population of the United States by 30,000 people, how many representatives are we supposed to have? And people say, oh, that's just not physically possible. It's like, why? Because the congressional hall is too small. I mean, let's build another building. Like, so see you later, Josh. Appreciate you. Yeah, they did love her for that, I guess. But yeah, like that's a lot. It'd be a lot of representatives. But yeah, like it's an interesting situation we find ourselves in, I think. So no, it's not. The thing about it though is if you had that many representatives, you would actually probably have a better representation of the country from a population point of view. I don't know how many. That's a lot of representatives, but you'd actually have like a base where every 30,000 people are represented by one person in the federal government level. It worked for us for years until it got to a certain point. So, and then suddenly we had this idea, well, Congress kind of controls that. And so we can fix that. We can do that. And so it's like, it's pretty it. So, let's see, legalize weed. I would get behind that. It's legal in many states, so I think nonviolent prison sentences probably you should still do your time if you're violent about it. Mental health. Properly run mental institutions. I would love to see that too. Naturalize and deport. Pause much immigration. Build a wall. Forgive debts. I don't know. I'm not about sure about the building wall. I don't think you have to build a wall if you have a fair immigration system. So gerrymandering on stereo is what we have now, and they use the algorithm. Yes, and that's part of the thing. I think the people who did that part of the article were understanding that better than most people, and people have forgotten how well they understood that. Because if you're representing every 30,000 people, gerrymandering becomes less powerful. So I don't know, because you're going to. Well, I'm not sure I agree with that, Michael. Because if it's every third, like it's every like I don't know, there's a lot of people in every representative district now, a lot more than 30,000, but 30,000 a group of 30,000 people, you might find a group of people that's living in the same area that's 30,000 people, and it's just not going to matter. I don't know. All representatives in the ballroom. Yeah, maybe that's what they're doing. They're building an extension. I don't know. I think gerrymandering, you'd still have gerrymandering, but right now you can put a shit ton of people into a gerrymandering section. Yeah. Oh yeah, you have zebra districts. But yeah, I don't know. But it's supposed to be every 30,000. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to do the math on this myself. Current population of the United States. 338.02 million people in the United States right now. That's a lot. 0.02000. Divide that by 30,000. If we were doing it according to the Constitution, we would have 11,267 representatives. 11,000. Yeah. 11,267.3 into a vis, so they would round it up. 11,268 representatives if we were doing it according to the Constitution. I think there was a reason why they stopped doing that. So they're meandering about. Dang it. Based on his pronouncing it correctly at other times, I think Mr. has been a bummer. I like the idea of gerrymandering. Yeah, I like the idea of gerrymandering too, but like that's a lot of representatives. That's a lot of people. I'm not sure how you would organize a voting system. So what they've done is they've kind of screwed with the Constitution a little bit, and they said we're going to have 435 representatives, and we're going to divide it proportionally among the state, which still doesn't violate the Constitution technically, but that's kind of what they did. Is gerrymandering a U.S. walkabout? Might be. But yeah, like that's a lot of representatives. That's a lot of people. So, yeah, a lot of humans. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we would do then. I mean, it's the mall walking. Yes. And I always love the discussion about gerrymandering too, Felicia, because people act like it's a new problem. The United States has been gerrymandering since day one. Like when you leave it to the states to set up the districts, which is great, it keeps the federal government from getting too much power over elections, and I'm all for that because that's why Trump wants to get rid of state power in elections, because then he can have control over it, and that's just a dangerous idea. But at the same time, if you have a strongly Republican state, they're going to gerrymander according to Republican lines. Democrats do it too. But gerrymandering has been a national tradition since day one. So, so there you go. But yeah, like it's people go, well, I don't understand how we're allowing this problem. I'm like, we've been allowing this problem for 250 years. Like gerrymandering is always an issue every 2 years. Every year, some state is gerrymandering. It happens all the time. And it's like, if you study the history of gerrymandering, it goes all the way back to the first days of the Constitution of the United States. So, whose death? Gary, Indiana. Oh, yeah, there's Gary. 2 votes, one for the party, one for the rep. If the result isn't proportional to the party votes, the more reps on the party list until you have proportion. It also makes gerrymandering moot. All right. Yeah, well, see, I love theoretics. I'm also what would get passed? Like, what is practically doable? What can you communicate to the American public voter and get done? Like, what is possible is a big one for me. Like, so defend physical media and consumer rights. Sony RN. Okay. Religious institutions following Form 990s, increase public transit funding. Yes. Gary Shalandley. But yes, like it's the Johnson Amendment is interesting. I know that there's a lot of battles going on between consumers and producers of gaming media in particular. A lot of fights there. I've been trying to catch up with what's going on in the world. It hasn't changed much. But yeah, like yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is it practically available to have? Because given United States citizens' attitudes about certain things, would that happen? No. I'm going to tell you flat out that American people wouldn't buy it. it's like uh, it's like ranked order voting. Ranked order voting makes so much more sense than what we do right now. But every time it's tried, it's shot down because Americans can't understand. Apparently, like you just put the candidates in order of who you'd want to have the office. They just can't understand that, and then there's a system to figure out who wins. Based on that. No, I can't do it. And I think what you're proposing would absolutely fix the problem, but I don't think Americans would practically buy in. We if you notice, Americans have a very simplistic view of how democracy is run. Like they don't have any other options. Like it's always first past the post elections. It's always majority rules kind of bullshit. It's like it doesn't do that. So has it been successful? Good. Like I know it's been in some places, but there's a few that were notable that were shot down. And well, those rascally whatevers shut it down. And it's like you do realize that when you saw ranked order proposals other places in the nation, that the two groups of people that were funding it's not happening with the Democrats and Republicans parties. Like they're both shoving money. Don't let that happen. so so yeah, you're honestly, Michael, it's from a if you propose that, somebody would say, yeah, that's some German's opinion. So, I'm not trying to be rude to you, but that's how they would treat it. Like, who the hell are you to tell us how to run our country, kind of thing. Like we Americans have this attitude, like we don't like to look outside the way we do our system to get anything done. Like we just never do that. So yeah, I mean, I'm telling you that I think it would solve these politicians. Like the two party system, I think, would be in jeopardy. That's why the two party system doesn't like it, because you can run an independent. And if, like, say, if you have a Democrat that, okay, I'm going to put Democrat first choice, but you have another candidate that both Democrats and Republicans like, they might end up being the second choice for everybody and win the election because when all things are considered, the majority of people actually want this person. Okay. And it works so well, like it solves a lot of problems, but the two party system doesn't like it because it's a threat to them and they know it. Because now you don't need a party necessarily to run on the election ticket, so you can get in there, and I don't think they like that. I know for myself, like I promised a few local stories, so I'll kind of end with those before I kill broadcast. But one of the things along this line is when I wanted to run for county commissioner, well, it's a few years ago, it's got to be 12 years ago. I found out that if I ran as a registered Republican or Democrat, I only had to sign the petition to get myself on the ballot myself. If I wanted to run as an independent, I had to get 40 signatures. That's a law that was passed by both Democrats and Republicans in the Michigan House and Senate. Other stories, school board stories related more to today's topic. I remember when I shot down, I said that yes, we needed to have our school healthcare services doing birth control and things like that in the school. I had 2 church pastors approach him. What the hell are you doing? Like, yeah. And it's like, dude, that not everybody believes what we believe. Like, it's like, so I, how long will it go? I won't keep that up until we reach the goal. Although, if it's being successful, Triple E, I'll gladly help her with some of her other expenses. I've got a few other people. I'm glad Felicia's here. I want to thank Felicia directly on the show here for her contributions. But I have somebody else who approached me today, willing to help Earl with some of her more immediate stuff. But if we reach the goal, until I'm going to keep going with this until we raise the money. And the biggest goal for me is to have Earl in an apartment or something, some living situation where she's safe and comfortable, where she gets the surgery on her hands that she needs and gets through the recovery time of that without having to worry about money. And then goes back to work. When she goes back to work, I'll stop raising money. Okay. Like, yeah, I don't think we have a set time limit on it. I just want to make everybody aware. Like, my goal is long term. She has some short term needs right now that other people are dealing with. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm trying to organize and coordinate that myself, and Evan's helping me with that. So thank you, Evan. But I want to continue to help her until she's in a position where she's had the surgery on her hands to fix them. She's had her consultations before that, and she gets into a better situation. So we're going to keep going with that. And with GoFundMe's, you can always add money if you reach the goal. So if there's another need, we can add it. But we're going to keep it going until Earl's in a safe place and she's had everything she needs got done, so that she can continue to do not only art, but also her career as a hygienist. So she's a hygienist. So it's like she needs to be able to do that. I mean, I know she wants to transform into art and media and stuff like that, but that's a transition that takes time. And so keeping her working and doing the things she does is what we're about. So I'm going to keep going with this. I'll keep putting it in the chat until I can sit down with Earl and say, Earl, are you okay? Are you going to be okay? And if she says, yes, I'm going to be okay, then we'll do that. So yeah, like, if you can't get anything now, do it when you want. The link's in the chat. It's also, I'll put it, I think I put it in the description. I'll double check, but if it's not in the description, I'll put it in the description of this. If you're a part of the Fluffle of Fangs, I dropped the link in there as well. So, whenever you can, I just appreciate it, because I think all of us have enjoyed Earl's artwork over the last, almost 2 years now. And I think, she's given us a lot of joy, a lot of laughs. She's been a supporter of other people when they've been in trouble. I know that for a fact. So I just want to do something for my friend. Okay. So, and I'll keep going. All hail the Goblin Queen indeed. So that's what we're going to do. All right. I am almost out of time, and I wanted to do that again. Like, there is a GoFundMe there. Don't break the bank. I don't think Earl wants you to go into financial trouble to solve her financial trouble. So, but, give her a hand, consider it. Yeah, I know I'm not selling, but if you can't give financially and still want to help, sharing out the campaign to other people is super. Yes. Like, if you can't help yourself, Evan makes a very, very valid point. Like, share it to other people that you think might be willing to help. Share it out everywhere. You never know. With GoFundMe campaigns, the first week is kind of critical. So our whole thing this week is to get it out there to help Earl. She's already received some help, and she text messaged me earlier today. Like, she was like crying, like, because of some of the support. She says, I haven't cried this much in years. And it's like, she didn't realize how much people cared about her. And I think that's another good effect of this, is she's learning that there's a lot of people that love Earl. Okay, they do care about her, and so we want to see her be successful. So, but yes, share, 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 share. Appreciate it. So, yeah, major shout out to Felicia. Thank you, Felicia. Another person, Mark, did some too. So we're already 10%, 11% towards the goal last time I looked, and maybe we're farther than that now. But so it's going along really, really well. And so I appreciate all the donations. I wish I may be able to do something, but it's not, I can't do anything right now because I just don't have the resources. But I will probably by the end of the month have a little bit more in my pocket to help too. And I'm going to do that. But we'll see. We'll see. But I would love to see this situation resolve itself where Earl is in a good place and can work again more steadily and consistently without worrying about her hands being numb or hurting and all that. Because we really appreciate her doing our artwork as well, because she needs her hands for that too. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for putting up with all that. I appreciate all of you. I am going to call it a night. Good discussion tonight. Thank you very much for everybody who participated. I want to thank Josh for his donations. Both of them, appreciate you. Keeps my channel motoring along as well. So there is that. Yes, please help Callie Kilder. Yes. So, but yes, she does all our artwork and all that. So make sure you give all the warm fuzzies you can to Earl. So yeah. So thank you very much. Thanks for yes. All right. With that said, may Fangs nibble on all of your hearts. May he draw you closer to himself with his sharp, pointy teeth. If you need a warm fuzzy from your religion, we got that. There's the warm fuzzy created by the lovely Laughing Witch Our Lord Naps, IKE herself, the godlet Fangs, in all his wonderful form will give you all the warm fuzzies from his tie-dye blanket. If you need a religious ritual, circumcise a carrot, put it on your stash or anything else you find valuable. And Fangs may take the stash, he may still take the carrot, he may take both, or he may leave you alone. It's really like all religious rituals, results vary. Avoid the. Also remember that Fangs always looks for legal ways to take your stash, so check your local laws. Um, avoid the vibes and lies of the apologists, and make sure you watch out for those presuppossums. They're always out there, so make sure that you watch out for them. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by, nom nom and all that. Thank you so much. Hold on. Here, let me get that for you real quick. And here we go. Yeah, I think sometimes my links get buried at the bottom, but here you go. There's the GoFundMe link. So there you go. Watch out for those presuppossums. They're everywhere. But thank you, everybody. As always, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So I want to make sure you take all your time, money, opportunities, spend them on yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. Part of that might be helping Earl. Earl makes this a better world. The Goblin Queen is so helpful with that. Thank you very much, everybody, for that. Don't waste your time on the trappings of religion and faith. That's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, folks, thanks for stopping by. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I haven't chosen a topic for Weird Wednesday yet. I'm like wrestling between a couple of them. So I'll post that tomorrow in the morning, and then I know what's happening Thursday too. So we'll see what happens there. But thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 7 o'clock, same time, same channel. Appreciate all of you. And help Earl. Have a good one. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end to find out how you can support the channel better. Of course, there's always the normal notions of just hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit your notification bell, and share the video with your friends and family that you think would be interested. That's always very appreciated. If you want to support the channel in a more tangible way, there's several options. You can super chat or super thanks in the comments or during a stream. Those are always very welcome, but you also can become a member of the channel. Members have certain perks like getting the videos early, things like that. They also have some good custom emojis during chat. So all of these things are good benefits to members, but they also support this channel and its work to continue to normalize atheism and deconversion, for which I'm very appreciative. It keeps me going, and it keeps me as a content creator being able to do more and more as a content creator. So if you choose those methods of support, thank you very much. And I appreciate you once again for staying to the end and listening to other ways that you can support the channel. Appreciate it. Thanks, and I'll catch you next time.